What the fuck is up? We are back on our regular day. It's Monday, bitches. And what an interesting weekend it has been in a lot of different ways. So we are so glad that y'all could join us on this. What's it called? What kind of day is this? Do you remember what it's called?
Other milker? No.
Maybe this will refresh us. Got him! How could you forget that? All right. It is Mommy Milkers Monday. That's right. Thanks to some of our illustrious addicts that join us every Monday night. And of course, and he's early tonight, Babylon. He goes, Mama! What is up, Kyler? So glad you could join us, brother. Hopefully you're in the good spirits tonight, or the dark spirits, as it were. And what's up, Cody? Happy birthday to your little man, who turned 2 today, 2 years old. And yes, in fact, they do grow rather quickly. That is so true. We have for you guys tonight, man, this was just, there was so much. Best metal albums to come out in March throughout metal history. So this encompasses all over the place. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick commercial break over to our brothers in the UK, Poison Valley Clothing. Check them out. Allahu Akbar. Oh, sorry. I would just tear the shit up out of that song. Looking forward to doing that, actually, because I do love it so. But yes, if you're looking for some custard, oh my goodness, I didn't mean dessert. Custom horror designs, definitely check him out. Very affordable, $15, fast shipping. And any idea you got, this guy can draw it for you. So definitely check him out. Let's see. We got some more comments. Oh, you're absolutely welcome, sir. And Tyler says he's doing much better lately. Even better. I love it. And Mousebong, what's up? Aw. Oh, man. Well, hopefully between the dabs and the booze and our silly asses, we will be able to cheer you up, and our hearts go out to you. So definitely very, very tough thing to go through. So, and everyone is chiming in as well. Yeah, Kyler says, custard, now you're speaking my language. I must have had dessert on the mind or something today, because for whatever fucking reason, it was 73 degrees today.
Wow.
Here, yes, in the Nebraska. It was 73 today, and I didn't get to enjoy it at all because I have literally been doing the spring cleaning, and it's pretty much done now. It took me 3 days, but I did get to walk over to the liquor store, so I enjoyed a little bit of it. You got some news yourself there, Mr. Beast.
Oh, which news is that?
A couple of things, actually.
About the big MOVE?
That's right.
Yep, as fate has it, we are moving to Reaper's neck of the woods, maybe even a block or two away, if that's in the cards, or, I'll be a few minutes away wherever we end up.
Well, honestly, it's not a big town.
But easy access to a really big town.
Very,
Yeah.
very, very, very true.
Yeah, we are so excited to move. We really like Omaha. For those of you who have never been to Omaha, Nebraska, you might feel the same way I did when my wife said, "Oh, there's a job in Omaha." I was like, "What?"
Dun dun dun. And we manifested the fuck out of that one, didn't we?
Yeah. And go there and you see it's actually a really up and coming, kind of middle of the road, kind of more progressive type city. It's not like a typical super conservative Midwest.
That's only on the West End.
Red state. Yeah. It's not terribly. So, but it's really nice. Like, we're really excited to be coming, but get fucking ready. Because as soon as I fucking get there and unpack those boxes and get my guitars and amps out, it's fucking down.
That's right. Got my drum kit on standby. Let's see. Oh man, a lot of comments here. So Babylon says, so jealous and happy for you guys. Well, as I told you there, Babylon, we are not that far from you, dude. So we can take a weekend, come down and do some shit. We could do that if we wanted to.
Like, what are the chances of all places that, because it's hard getting, my wife's a university professor. It's hard finding those jobs. They're very, very competitive.
Oh, fuck yeah, they are. Holy shit.
She had an offer at Northwest Missouri State, which we would have taken, but that would have been 2 hours away from the Reapster. And then, but who knows what we really wanted because of the city. I can get there, I can tattoo. It's a bigger pool for me to shine and kick everybody's ass.
So much traffic up there. I can attest to that. Unfortunately, where I started my store in Omaha, it was hard to find. So as long as you pick a place that's easy to get to and see you, visibility is like so fucking huge in Omaha. So if you have that, you'll get the traffic you want, man, for sure. And Omaha needs good tattoo artists. There's a lot up there, but that doesn't mean they're all good. Oh, and there's more. Let's see. Mousebong says, that's awesome, you guys. We'll be so close. More jamming. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
Cody says some unholy shit is about to happen after that movie. You fucking ain't right, man. It'll the human, the hoof beast will be in full force. Oh, hey, look at that. Kyler says, you're moving. Now it will be easier to visit you both. You damn right.
Hell yeah.
You got to come out to the Midwest, man. It's very interesting.
There's a lot of flat farming.
Well, it's beautiful nature, man. It's like the sky opens up. It's perfect for bonfires and fucking bourbon and whatever you want to shovel down your ventricles, as it were. So lots of fun. Babylon says 6 to 7 hours from you guys, I think. I might actually be a little less than that, but I will check that. But still, we will make that shit happen.
I would think it's about 6. Yeah, somewhere between 6 and 7. Maybe 6 is doable.
Yeah. For me, a 6-hour road trip is nothing.
Yeah. road trips like that, as long as you have like a 3 or 4 day weekend.
Oh, for sure. Like not this coming weekend, but in 2 weeks, I'll be in Houston filming for Death Bike. So that's going to be fucking badass. So
Yeah.
that's a 14 to 16 hour drive for me. So even that doesn't bother me. Now, if it was 24, forget about it. Shit. All right. So let's. Oh, Mousebong says, I literally just asked my husband, hey, what's in Omaha? I know nothing about it. Well, we have the largest zoo in the country.
Yep. And it's a world renowned zoo.
It is something else. We have tons of museums, all kinds of great shit. Of course, the CHI Center, where I always go and do the Villain Arts tattoo conventions and shit like that. So, trust me, Mousebong, this is not my first rodeo. She says, get ready for Houston traffic. Ooh-wee. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about because I did a Villain Arts convention down there and everybody tried to kill me on the road. That's all right. They need to watch out for my ass.
So, I've been all over the country and even recently. So Miami is the worst to me. Atlanta is pretty bad too.
Oh, Atlanta is fucking ridiculous.
Ass hats going 90 and a 75 going 95 or 100, chasing each. But in Miami, it's even worse. They're doing that all the time.
They can't possibly have California beat, though.
Yeah. California is kind of too fucked to like it's too jammed, like a lot of times to be too fucked up.
I mean, literally, like there'll be up to 6-7 lanes of traffic in the future. I'm telling you, it's fucking insane. All right. Metal releases, big metal releases in the month of March. Over what, 50 plus years of metal history. So I'm going to kick it off with a band that right now is paying homage to two of the greatest guitarists and drummers of all time. And of course, I'm talking about Vinny and Dime. Well, in March, they released Reinventing the Steel. Now, everyone's got their favorite Pantera records. Of course, we loved Vulgar Display. Of course, we loved Far Beyond Driven. Far Beyond Driven is still my favorite, but Reinventing the Steel kind of was like they were hitting a cusp of just ultimate groove, but in the heaviest fucking crushing way. I really, really enjoyed this record. And anyone that is a Pantera fan also probably loves this one. For some people, they didn't like it as much. I mean, it was definitely more raw, more heavy. That's where their heads were. It was high energy. Vinny's drums just pummeled your ass at every turn. Dimebag was just, oh my goodness. I still miss those two motherfuckers to this day. So definitely had to be my first one for tonight.
Yep. Far Beyond Driven was also released. That was...
Oh, shit.
That Far Beyond Driven was released March 22nd, 1994. Yep.
Isn't that insane? Yep. To think that record came out in 94.
And Far Beyond Driven has some of my most favorite songs, but it falls off for 2 or 3 songs that aren't quite as strong as like Vulgar Display or Cowboys. Those seem to be a little stronger from front to back.
Unfortunately, yes. I actually, even though I love that record because of some of the hits, 5 Minutes Alone. So there's so fucking many. Even to their beautiful cover of Planet Caravan. Holy fuck. I really enjoyed that. I don't think there was another band that could have covered that song better than they did it. But definitely was not a put it in, let it go all the way through kind of shit. So
Yeah, the month of March is crazy. You guys, I have like 20 iconic albums on my list, and I only laid out 9 CDs and or vinyls. To, but there's so many iconic albums, like amazing ones. Only one of them made my top 30, but so many of them, like these bands have like 4 or 5 that are just outstanding albums. So the first one that I will choose, it came out on, let's see, March 22nd as well, in 1982. This is maybe one of the most important metal albums of all time. It was a groundbreaking album. Bruce Dickinson led the way with Number of the Beast. Oh, fucking awesome. March 22nd, 1982. What an amazing flipping album. Invaders, Children of the Dam, 22 Acacia.
Children of the Damned's like my favorite off of that record.
The Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills. Oh my God. Hallowed be thy name. Like, this whole album is amazing. It's not my favorite Iron Maiden. And you guys can go back and watch. We ranked all the Iron Maiden albums. So you could go back and check all those out. And you can see which one Reaper chose as his favorite and which one I chose as mine.
Honestly, if you weren't a fan of motherfucking Iron Maiden, when you saw that cover, it just automatically draws your gaze, just walking right into back in the good old days when there were record stores and everything pretty much was vinyl and or CD and cassette. Especially at that time, it was just cassette and vinyl. So, wow, what a fantastic fucking record. Here we go. Mousepong says that record is very dear to my heart. It was the first heavy record my dad and I connected on when I was really little. Awesome. That is so cool to hear. And all the younger parents coming up today that are like sharing metal with their kids and just kind of keeping, our culture alive. I salute you, because there was just nothing better. The only thing my dad did for me was he introduced me to the great 50s hits and 60s hits, but he introduced me to Sabbath. So that is Sabbath, and I would say the first Zeppelin record. Those two right there. I'm not even going to mention the fact that he slid me a copy of Kiss Dynasty. We're just going to forget about that. That never happened. But it was also the first time I ever heard Iron Butterfly. So now we have a new legion of folks that are, having these moments with their children, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Deep Purple's big album in 1972. What the hell was that one called? It's like their big iconic one. That one came out.
It was the one with Smoke on the Water.
Yeah. That one came out in March as well. I forget the date. I didn't put it on because it's still a little bit too much of rock and roll.
Classic rock, because you can't just call it classic rock anymore, because that's what they're calling the 80s now.
Yeah.
And the 90s. Can you believe that? All 3 decades.
Yeah,
damn.
They still most music still used actual instruments to write.
Right. Oh my goodness. So on March 21st of 1995, a fucking super fantastic album came out, further cementing the legacy of, in my opinion and many others' opinions, the creators of death metal in this country. I'm sure you probably already know who I'm talking about. But I have to go back to it. One of my biggest metal drummer heroes of all time was on this record, if I remember correctly. I'm almost
Yep.
positive.
Yep.
I think it was his first one too.
This was
and
the,
this.
I think this was the second.
Oh, the second. I thought it was the first. Shit. All right. Well,
I might be
and
wrong.
as a matter of fact, they are currently on tour doing the Death to All tour, which is really, really interesting. We'll get to that in a second. But Death released Symbolic. Again, another cover that just draws your eyes the moment you fucking see it. If you didn't know Death before that, that probably had something to do with you picking it up back in 95. Funny enough, that's when I graduated high school. So I guess it is very symbolic in many ways. Just technical precision, pummeling, Gene's artistry as, in my opinion, the I don't know. So many people probably browbeat me for this, but I don't know. I think Gene smoked them all. I really do, in many, many ways. Some people would probably even say Pete Sandoval, was like the best. Nah, nobody had that fucking, just sheer power and creativity that Gene shows on this record. Chuck's voice has never been better, totally upping his game, heading towards, where they were going up to his unfortunate leaving us. So I feel like symbolically, no pun intended, this album was definitely a good glimpse into what was going to come.
Yeah, if I could have any drummer in the world, and I'm thrilled. And by the way, we just got the first song that has been mixed properly, and Reaper's drums are so fucking sick. When we release it, listen to it with good headphones, not headphones that have too much bass, because it'll end up sounding a little boxy. These are organic, and the fills are so flippin' sick. But this album, like Gene Hoglan, is, if I could have any drummer in the world, I mean, I'm sorry, Reaper, but fucking Gene Hoglan is such a monster. And his technical precision, too. That's what I hear, especially on this album. Because in The Sound of Perseverance, great album, and that still had Steve DiGiorgio. On Symbolic, you had a new bassist, and you had a new guitarist on there with Chuck. And then we had Gene with Chuck left over from The Sound of Perseverance. But this album, to me, some people will crap on it, but they'll say like it's like too clean. But I fucking love it. It's, to me, I think I even like it better than The Sound of Perseverance.
The production is even better.
Yeah,
like the engineering.
It's really good.
Fucking crisp as shit. All kinds of fun stuff out here. Okay, so I now know how old you are, Mousebong. She said, I graduated 10 years after you. I was like, okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. And then Babylon chimes in with class of 92, bitches. Oh, that's hilarious. He said, I played so many hippie shows during those years. Let me tell you. I played so many fucking hippie festivals in the 90s. I don't even want to talk about it. I once played a 35-minute version of Brown Eyed Girl.
I'm sorry.
It was the most irritating experience I ever had. But I mean, I got to do my John Bonham thing, so I did that. We did it. It's in the history books, but who cares? All right, what you got next for us, brother?
My next one is my first metal love. I remember listening to this in 1983 in my friend's car on the way to a soccer tournament and this is my first time getting to go somewhere besides a Boy Scouts camp without the parents. And we had the cigarette smoking brother and his friends along with us. So we were because my parents couldn't afford to drive out and bring the whole family and have hotel. Like, we were pretty poor growing up. But on March 11th, 1983, Quiet Riot Metal Health came out.
Yes.
And this, I think it was Come On Feel the Noise, was the first metal song to ever hit #1 on the billboards. Not that that's a goal that any metalhead wants these days. Like Metallica sort of bullshit.
Right. Once upon a time when metal ruled the airwaves, there was just something electrifying about Kevin DuBrow as a vocalist. He wasn't the most attractive. Let's be real. And fucking Frankie Banali, man, holy shit balls, solid. Like, everything was just power with those guys.
Can you give us
why everything was so anthematic?
Can you give us your version of Frankie Banali's opening for Metal Health?
Bah, bah, bah,
Yeah.
bah, 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 bah. Now that's what I would have done, but he did not. Babylon says, oh my goodness, really? He says patchouli and stank pits. Yes. That's exactly what that was like. And a lot of puking and passing out. And then he goes, hell yes, the riot. I mean, if you were a kid in those days, everybody got down to that. It was always for me like a close toss-up between them and Twisted Sister until Twisted Sister went the way of the wuss.
I know. Quiet Riot did too.
They did. I mean, they kind of had to like follow with the times. You got to understand something. During the 80s, as music was progressing and who's charting, the highest and all that shit, which I think is very embarrassing for metal because we never gave two fucks about that. Not once. We don't give a fuck about no Grammy. We don't belong in the Grammys. That's why there's a thing called the Metal Hall of Fame fucking show that no one ever knows anything about because it doesn't get televised. But all those fucking band managers back then were like, oh, you want to keep your, whatever $1 million mansion and all your fucking cars and shit. Well, you're going to play this now because this is what's, the happening thing. It's like I said, the moment hair metal started taking over with somebody called fucking Bon Jovi and Poison
and Motley
Warrant.
Motley Crue went to shit too.
Well, they were leading the charge on that shit. The moment he started wearing pink on stage, fuck you. That shit pissed me off.
Got like Carlos Cavazos' guitar work is excellent. Rudy Sarzo had left Ozzy Osbourne, and Rudy Sarzo is a great player from Chile. He spoke
legendary.
Still has a heavy accent. But Metal Health was my favorite song off of that. But I also liked, even the ballad "Don't Want to Let You Go." I love every fucking song. This was my first metal love. Next was Twisted Sister.
And it was so weird to hear that in a little movie called Footloose. Because it was like the perfect I'm teenage angst pissed off, I guess. And they're like, oh, we need to, get this into the movie. I'm sure that probably helped get them, a lot more followers, but so much fun. They were all about, getting drunk and off all those classic, pictures you would see of them backstage with all the beer cans and whatnot. But just a great fucking band. And yeah, I don't know. It often makes me wonder if some of those other bands didn't show up, would they have gotten heavier? Would have just stayed to their formula? It's kind of hard to figure out because I mean, well, look at what happened to Motley Crue. That's what was hot back then.
Not get any worse. That's like going to a MAGA rally and hearing the Orange Bag of Vomit. He's shit like that now. He's slurring words and saying even more stupid shit.
I cannot believe that people are still paying $100, $200 fucking dollars a ticket to see that fucking Vince Neil.
I know.
Looks like Joe Dirt, after a fucking 10-year bender. Let's see here. Cody says, I was writing though this over church populated town blasting Metal Health this morning. Awesome. Look at you. Love it.
I remember watching what did they call it? Friday night fights. And so they would always put like Quiet Riot kicked everybody's ass. They knocked off Def Leppard's Photograph song.
Thank fuck.
Yeah. They held it. They broke, and Def Leppard was on a record. I mean, they had a record amount of wins in a row. And like, I remember going against the Police every breath you take. I was like, oh, you better not fucking lose to that. and I actually do like the Police these days. Like, I listen to it in the stores. And they're like, I love Stuart Copeland as a percussionist.
He's amazing.
He's one of my favorites too.
Literally amazing. Mousebong says, dude, I remember in the earlier 2000s when they did a reality documentary on Vince getting his facelift and making a comeback. They botched it. They sure did, didn't they? But then again, when you drink literally kegs of beer every day, that's what's going to happen. You're going to blow up. Babylon says it's the abominable snowman from Rudolph. So true. So I'm going to throw a dog a bone this time and just take it on the chin, even though this is one of the bands that everybody in the Morgrat universe for, listening to me babble on for like fucking 3 years now. I have nothing but disdain for fucking Metallica. But in March, back in the 80s, and unfortunately my notes didn't have the date precise, but they would put out, in my opinion, their most iconic record as a literal thrash band, people. None of that whiskey in a jar shit. Or the entire fucking rest of their catalog from 90 on. But just the most iconic album they have ever done. And they could have gone to such new heights and heavier. And Cliff Burton, rest his soul, it's his final record. And because of him, that record is probably the best in their catalog. And of course, I'm talking about Master of Puppets.
One of my fucking favorites. March 3rd, 1986.
See, I knew it was 86. I didn't know the actual date in March.
And good.
Damn. When you see that photo of those four gentlemen, you think badass. You think these guys are fucking amazing. Cliff looks like he's going to like just come across the room and like take a chunk out of your throat. Just nothing but raw attitude and just thrashy goodness from the title track to every other song on the record, front to back, mastery.
Flawless, 5 out of 5 without a doubt. Fucking love that album. Fucking amaze balls.
In every sense of the word. Big old hairy danglers.
Yeah. Like, I don't feel like I need to say too much more about that album. If you don't know
Nope.
that,
It speaks for itself.
yeah, it's so good. Like, it's perhaps my second favorite album of all time. It's so good. Even better than all the death metal shit I like and black metal and shit.
Absolutely.
All right. So, my next one, because I have so many of these fuckers, this album is outstanding, just like all 20 of them that I have on my damn list. This is Paradise Lost.
Yes.
This came out in 1992. Let me find it on here. It's on my list. There it is. March 19th. Oh, sorry, 1991. March 19th, 1991. This album is early, but it's like gothic death doom. This thing is so damn good. If you can get your hands on this, do it. You will not regret it. It's worth whatever money you would be paying for it. From front to back, totally amazing, really groove oriented death doom. One of the first ones to do it.
And I would say the best at it, to be perfectly honest. Anytime you can have groove interwoven into that death doom ooey gooiness that we love so much, it just makes it that much more fun.
Yeah, they're in their last 3 albums. Like, there was an excellent one like in 2015, and then one like 2018, and then they came out with one in 2021. Their more recent ones are so good. They brought back the death metal vocals of Nick Holmes, and
thank goodness.
They still do the clean, but it's so catchy, so beautiful, so melodic, like so damn good. I love Paradise Lost. That's a band I haven't seen yet, and I would love for them to come across over here. Love to see them.
Yeah, honestly, before we became brothers, I used to think I was the only one that liked Paradise Lost, because even back in Ohio at the time. And I would see their advertisements in the Hit Parader and stuff, Metal Edge. I was like, I got to check these dudes out. And I loved them. And everybody made fun of me for it. I'm like, fuck you. You're stupid. If you would just listen to it. So good.
Really good songwriting. Yeah, I found them on Earache Records. Put out a grindcore. No, it wasn't Earache Records. It was the Hard and Heavy. They used to put out videos all the time, and they would have all kinds, mostly thrash bands and like Candlemass, stuff like that. And then in Testament, that's where I was introduced to so many bands that way.
As do we.
Yeah.
I think some people today probably look at it as kind of being, pretentious, but yet we'll turn around and say, oh, I love Typo Negative. You know what I mean? Because anything that is kind of gothy doom, even though this was on a much heavier level, everything has its roots. And they were definitely the purveyors of getting it done and doing so good at it. All right. So back in 2006, one of our beloved death metal bands that even the first letter, you already know who it's going to be. And I'm talking about Cannibal Corpse, released a fun little record called Kill. Let me tell you, that year, anytime I was ultra pissed off, I would be blasting out in the midst of all of the the do-gooders and the preppy people. I would be blasting Make Them Suffer. If I was going through town on my way to work, I was definitely Death Walking Terror is probably my favorite song of all time. It's just so good. And there's grooves in there in this record for some of like their breakdown stuff that was a little bit not so indicative of their earlier stuff. It's mostly just fast, blast beat all the way through. There's a lot of extra grooves in there this time around. So I'm trying to think. 5 Nails Through the Neck. Come on. That's what I think I'm getting every time I look at Corpse Grinder, because its neck is so big. It's just going to destroy me.
He has no neck.
He's a byproduct of Toxic Avenger.
Oh, he is Chet from Weird Science. I've said that before.
You are so right.
Yeah, that came out March 21st, 2006. And Cannibal Corpse had another album come out in March, but this one was, I think, 2012. And it was March 13th of 2012, and they came out with Torture. There's Super.
And literally torture in every sense of the word, because
yeah, it's really good.
Just an onslaught.
Yeah, Cannibal Corpse has never put out a bad album, in my opinion. They're all super consistent.
Yeah, there's only just the one that some people were like, I just didn't dig it as well, and that was The Wretched Spawn.
Oh, that's a favorite of so many people's too.
Well, that's great to know, because it was definitely a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
So creative and different. Took some chances on that record, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I love me some slower Cannibal Corpse. Da, na, 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 na. I mean, that was so fucking doomy. But then again, they had the bald-headed guitarist at the time, and he was the one who like came up with a lot of the riff writing, and he was on another plane, man. I was like, I dig this.
Yeah, they were so damn good. And like, they had a slow song on their latest album from last year, and that was my favorite song on the album. Give me a whole album with that shit. I mean, speed it up for parts of it, but I love that slow, doomy stuff, slow, sludgy kind of death metal.
Yeah. Having some dichotomy within songs make it so much more enjoyable as a listener. In my opinion.
Yeah, really dynamic.
Because when you're just getting hit all the way through, it's like, I need a minute before I go to the next track.
Or it would be like eating your favorite mashed potatoes, and that's all you're eating. And then we get to put some gravy on or mix it with something else.
Always got to have that secret sauce.
That's a good choice. I figured you would choose Cannibal Corpse, so I didn't bring those over here from my collection. So if you in the 80s, if you listen to Headbangers Ball, 80s, no, actually, no, not 80s. This would have been early 90s Headbangers Ball.
Every fucking week.
You would have heard the band I'm about to bring up, because they were part of the kind of intro to Headbangers Ball. And I'm talking about, and who's the guitarist? Played with Danzig. Tommy Victor's mom.
Yes.
This is Beg to Differ, and they had Metallica's artist Pushead draw Tommy Victor's face. Actually looks, he's always looked a lot like Peter Steele to me
In
as
a
well.
lot of ways.
I'm gonna look at you. But this album, front to back, fucking awesome. Very, very groovy. And the song that was my favorite song off there is Beg to Differ. And that's also the song they used for Headbangers Ball in the early 90s. So what a band. It's a three-piece. Tommy Victor played guitar and handled vocals. And what a humble guitarist, too. Like, I remember seeing him in, like, Metal Maniacs, and people were trying to give him praise for being a good guitarist, and he was like, "Oh, no," and rightly so, because he's not he's not a wanker in any way. He's good with groove. He's a great song merchant, but he's not. He doesn't do any guitar wankery. His tone and the bite from his Marshall. He plays Marshall, or at least he played Marshall Stack when I saw him, and
Still
so
does.
good. And he's so down to earth. What a nice guy. Great show to go see. Their drummer was sick as fuck. And their drummer was more in like the simple vein. Don't throw too much in there. And it made it better because the bass and the guitar and the vocals got to breathe and work together. It's really, really good album. Beg to Differ by Prong. I think it was 1991 is when that came out. So, no, 1990. March 12th, 1990.
Definitely iconic record. I was always a fan of Prong, and they were a little bit more of an underground band, not so mainstream, which is, in my opinion, a really cool thing. As a matter of fact, they're on tour right now.
I'd go see him again. Just I love his biting distortion. It's really good, really clear too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dimebag's distortion was really biting and kind of compressed and tight.
Absolutely. I was like, oh shit, Danzig actually let him out of his harness to do his old band. I was like, he must be taking a breather. So many fucking years as Danzig's guitarist, but always, in my opinion, an underrated guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
The band, that album, so tight, in the pocket. Love it. All right. Who do I want to do next? Yes. March 21st, 1980. Now I'm coming back to the 80s a little bit. This band just, by this time could do no wrong. Because as far as the British wave of metal, they were definitely, I would almost say top kings because they kind of came first. But Judas Priest releases Living After Midnight. It's just a fun album that you could party to. That's kind of like, I don't know, that's how I always categorize this record. Just, it's lots of fun. Super tight, very anthematic. Everybody knows that song, Living After Midnight. Probably the best one on the record, in my opinion, but there are definitely some other hits on there too.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say this one because like Sabbath-esque, and it is Sad Wings of Destiny.
I actually decided I was gonna do that one, but then I was like, I don't know. I don't know how many of our addicts out there actually know that record, but I'm kind of glad you brought it up because in 76, they sounded so different. I actually liked it better, to be perfectly honest. Which was funny because they kind of like evolved into, the Judas Priest that everybody knows from the 80s. And then you see Sabbath following them all of a sudden.
But you know who I really think followed this album, Sad Wings of Destiny, more than anyone else is one of our favorites. I just bought a vinyl from Reaper that was a first edition printing. I'm talking about King Diamond with Merciful Fate. I can hear the influence so
It's thick.
this album, not from like British Steel or Defenders of the Faith,
Right.
Vengeance, like some of their more iconic ones, because those were more approaching thrash and kind of faster power metal. But
Mhm.
this album, when I hear this, I can't help but hear the King singing at all, like 100%. And
I think you're right. I think a lot of people don't realize just how many vocalists that Rob Halford has influenced so greatly.
yeah.
I mean, we would have never had a Ripper Owens, you know? So that's a testament right there. But you can hear it in a lot. Now, speaking of testament, a little bit of Chuck Billy's vocals at sometimes were a little bit Halford inspired, I think, as well.
Yeah, Rob Halford, like I may go see him again because the new album, if you haven't listened to the new album, it's really good. Like Firepower came out in 2018. That one's really good and it's quite thrashy. But this one, and I went and saw him on that tour, this one might even be better. When I heard every single song, I was like, you guys are doing like what you did in the 80s to your best. And it's more doomy than Firepower. It has a little bit of some kind of doom elements. Every song sounds really good. Like there's no weak song on the album.
Especially at
And,
their age. Holy shit balls.
and they've said this will be their last album.
Yep.
And it's really good. So yeah, if you haven't heard the new Judas Priest album, it's quite good.
Just an enigma of metal. So it's like so awesome because you got KK's Priest, I guess is what the band is called, where they got Ripper Owens back as the vocalist. How do you think the two stand against each other?
I take Rob any day.
Oh, for sure. Nothing against Ripper because Ripper's a great fucking vocalist.
He is.
But do you think they sound similar? Because I haven't heard it. I haven't taken the plunge to say, okay, let's see what they got.
Yeah.
I just don't want to.
But it's just more generic sounding to me. Like Rob Halford is such an icon. Nobody has ever sang just like him. And the way that he inspired King Diamond to me is, especially that Sad Wings of Destiny album. That I hope if I was to ever be able to interview King Diamond, I would bring up that album and ask him if that
see
was
what he says.
because I can hear that influence in that so well. Like Rob Halford singing differently in that album than he does on Defenders of the Faith and Screaming Vengeance. Like it's a different vocalist. Still really good, but man, the little high witch screams were freaking amazing.
Oh, just amazing. Kind of felt like they completely erased Led Zeppelin off the map when that record came out. And a lot of people just don't know about that record. They think, oh, they came at the beginning of the 80s. No, they didn't. They started a little bit earlier. They even looked very different. They were not all clad in leather at that time.
Oh. Wearing lip gloss.
No, right.
Like Rob Halford had like a disco mullet. Like,
yeah.
Maybe he was one of the first to have a mullet.
Well, that'll be the only thing I'll ever hold against him then.
I had one. In 1985, I had a mullet. Everybody had one.
I did, but it wasn't like the stereotypical mullet. It's like my bangs came like down to here, like it's about as long as my folks would actually let me have it at that time. But the back was long, but it had to be shoulder length. So, oh, the fucking rules. Gotta love it.
So my next one is from one of my favorite thrash bands, probably my overall like today that I get into as a whole. My favorite out of the big four, and I'm talking about Slayer. Hell Awaits.
Oh, such a great fucking album.
So this came out March 26, 1985. Damn good album. And dare I say, this was one of the heaviest things out there. Outside of like a lot of what Bathory was doing, Bathory was
Yes.
pretty fast, and Possessed had already put out some stuff by this time. Possessed was really hard, really heavy, arguably one of the first purveyors of death metal. Death was already in the works of, getting their shit together. So, but Slayer was damn heavy. This was some scary shit to see people walking around school wearing their t-shirts. For me, because I was brainwashed so much by the Satanic Panic.
Which is so funny because I don't know that to me there were scarier bands than Slayer. Way scarier. Anything from Venom, Merciful Fate, why they to this day I'll still never understand why Ozzy was, kind of caught up in that, because when you listen to his stuff, it's not super occult laden or anything like that. It was just imagery. But, Slayer makes sense because, I mean, shit. Tom was just really good at knowing what would scare the shit out of people. And that's what they sang about. Especially in those days. And it worked. I mean,
yeah.
When they came out, suddenly, you see, upside down pentagrams everywhere. Every band was doing it, even though they're singing about take my girl out on a Saturday night and, party, party, party. Slayer was actually talking about it. And then, of course, King was actually living it. Much different. But, and there's so much flack about Slayer getting back together, and I mean rightfully so. Why the fuck now?
Yeah.
I could just see the musicians of Kerry King's solo project going, what the fuck, man? We just released a record and you're leaving? I would be fucking pissed to the ends of the earth on that.
Yeah, every time I got to see Slayer, I got to see Dave Lombardo. I'll take him over Paul Bostaph any day.
I mean, Paul's not a bad drummer.
No.
I hate his sound. I think that's what kills it for me. I do not like the way his drums sound because, Lombardo's kit had, just like Vinny, big, deep toms, and 22, either 22 or 24-inch kicks. So it's just something too not organic about Paul's sound that I just don't like.
Yeah, it lacks character. I totally agree. And he just doesn't have a style like Dave did.
What's up, Austin? Definitely not well, with the exception of him biting the head off a bat. But other than that, I consider Ozzy more hard rock than I do metal. Agreed. The only thing that made Ozzy metal at all was the musicians that he had playing for him.
Yeah. Well, like Mr. Crap old metal. I
Oh,
love
big time.
song. And I love that fucking song.
Shit, Bark at the Moon.
Yeah, Crazy Train, Bark at the Moon. Hell yeah, a lot. But yeah, he definitely was kind of like although he's not American, he had a with him and he spent a whole lot of time in America. And he definitely kind of fit more in with Quiet Riot and older Crew and that kind of bunch. Def Leppard kind of coming up. Well, he was a lot more dark and scary than Def Leppard. But when Dio was solo, like, and Ozzy and Dio were two of the biggest bands at the time.
Absolutely.
Everybody had fucking Dio shirts except for me. I was afraid and I wasn't allowed to go see Dio.
I was just rocking Last in Line a little bit earlier today. And just what a fucking vocal talent.
Mm-hmm.
Unfucking believable. Just
and a nice and warm human being too.
oh, absolutely. And I feel like every time he did something super great, somebody either let him go or they decided to break it off, or because like when Sabbath and him got back together to do Dehumanizer, it was like unholy motherfucking shit, man. That record will forever live in infamy, and I will play it to this day. And then when they decided to do the band Heaven and Hell together, which was Dio, Tony Geezer, and Vinny Appice, that shit was so fucking heavy, so fucking good. And then unfortunately, stomach cancer took him. Every single time something super, like, I don't know, just out of this world fucking awesome shit that he was able to do, and then something would happen. Imagine where it would have been today. Man. I digress. All right. So on March 19th of 2001, as metal is getting extremer, gentier, do I say, and very, very technical, just an unbelievable talent to come out of France, of all places. France is not really well known for their amazing technical fucking super heavy. This band borders on so many different genres of metal. I just love it. And it was the first time I ever got to hear Gojira. They released their debut album, Terra Incognita. Yes, hopefully I said that correct. When I heard them, I was just like, okay, I can get with this. It was so different. I mean, just a couple years back, they ended up outselling every major artist in America. I forget the name of the record, but I was like, man, that's a true testament to this band. Super heavy. Their drummer, he's so tasty. I mean, he took the paradiddle and turned it into one of the neatest double kick grooves I have ever heard. Between that, the ride cymbals, I mean, it was just, oh my goodness. So between that and the bone crunching guitars and the vocalist, man, great fucking growls, fits the project. It's very passionate. And I definitely think they're one of the 2000s heaviest hitters.
Yep. And they have a prog element to all of their albums. They're a little bit on the proggy side too. And lyrically speaking, a lot of their albums are about the environment and they're about giving a shit about the world. And I like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of goes to show that it doesn't matter how heavy a band is, they got something to say. And 9 times out of 10, it's mostly violent. But this is just more about, I don't know, I guess you could say awareness. And I think that's why they have kind of struck so many different listeners on all metal fronts. Say, hey, these guys, they're fucking awesome, and I can actually relate. You know, some bands you just can't relate to. Some bands you can relate to because it just happens to be something that, you know, is your philosophy. But then there's ones that are just kind of preaching violence and whatever, and that's fine. I like a good violent band every once in a while, but this band definitely stood out as something a little bit more relatable to the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
France. Still kills me.
Mouse Bong will share love for Death Spell Omega, because that's another amazing, groundbreaking band to come out of France. And then I think they're done now. Well,
damn it.
Spell Omega, well, no, I mean France as a country is done giving us any more like groundbreaking bands. No, I'm joking. They'll Death Spell Omega is really, really good, but they didn't have an album out in March that I know of.
Gotcha.
On
What's
March,
up, JD? Austin had this to add as well. Yeah, his Sabbath days were definitely a lot crazier than what he does now. That I don't like his newer work. I do. Ozzy is Ozzy at the end of the day, but his music when he was with Black Sabbath was definitely crazy with the capital C for sure. Yeah, you know, as Ozzy has gone on through his solo career, you get like 5 tunes that are, you're just like, these are fucking amazing. And then he hits you with the ballad. And it's always about the same fucking thing. Oh, I've been sober for far too long. I have ruined so many lives. What the fuck was I thinking? You know? That's why it's hard. It really is. Patient Number 9 was actually, don't get me wrong, that was a pretty good record. I don't care that he got a Grammy for that at all. I really don't. He's not somebody I think that should. That's just my opinion. He's not a pop artist. But there's just so many times that he keeps rehashing the same shit that he's hung up on. It's like, come on, man. Live in the now. Who cares about 20 years ago? That's just me.
Yeah. Well, on March 24th, 2009, I could not wait for this fucking album to come out. Blood Mountain is in my top 30, and that album came out in like 2005. And by the way, Reaper, you and I should be going, unless you're out filming, to go see fucking Mastodon and Lamb of God. Because Lamb of God's playing Ashes of the Wake, and Mastodon's playing Leviathan in there.
Oh, wow.
From front to fucking back.
Woo!
I'm in Ottawa because they're coming to Ottawa. I think it's August 26th or August 28th. So I'm going. The question is Reaper going?
I don't have anything. So yeah, I'm in.
All right. We're so tired.
I have a killer convention with Cody from Defiler of the Crown Art at the beginning of the month. So the end of the month, I am free.
Yeah, I think it's the end of the month. It could be August 6th, but I think it's the 26th. But I could be wrong. I'll have to look again. But I know it's August. Yeah, it's a ways away. It's either that or maybe it was September 6th. Might be September 6th.
Ooh, I'm filming. I have to do my sequel. My zombie is being revived.
Mastodon on March 24th, 2009. They came out, and I got the deluxe edition that has the DVD and the making of it.
Ooh.
Came out with Crack the Sky.
Ah,
Ron
that's probably my favorite one by them.
Ron Daly's sister had passed away prior to this album, so he wrote the song Crack the Sky. and I bawled because that man had the balls to get up there and sing that song about his sister and play fucking drums at the same time. What a man for sharing something so personal in a song. This is a very beautiful album. Probably my third or fourth favorite out of their album. It's really good. Like I didn't like Oblivion. I thought it was too straightforward. And Oblivion was kind of like a sneak peek into what would come in the following years, which I'm not so thrilled with. Like, to me, Mastodon was at their best when they were at their most progressive and all over the place and most complicated. And then once they kind of threw some blues and sludge into it, it's still really good, but I'm not into it as much. So this year I'm going to go hear them play Leviathan from front to back. And of course, they'll play a bunch of other songs too. And Lamb of God, Ashes of the Wake, front to back. I cannot wait for that show.
Thank goodness, too. By far, in my opinion, one of Lamb of God's best albums ever.
Maybe Babylon will drive up for that show so I don't have to go by myself. That or Mouse
I'm
Bomb.
sorry.
Mouse Bomb come over. Cody can come over. Tired of by my fucking self.
I feel that, man. I do.
Part of it is
Mousebong says another great French band, Blut aus Nord. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Released their fourth album March 17th of 2003.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't know why that wasn't on my my radar. Says called The Work Which Transforms God. The sick ass avant-garde black metal with industrial elements.
Yep. They are, yeah, their album last year was really, really good. More like a soundtrack of darkness and kind of fear coming.
We're all of us creatures of the night live. Absolutely. Cody says, Oblivion is where I found Mastodon. The good news is you found him. Period. Just a great fucking band. You know, just as a side note, I got a tapestry of Mastodon in, I want to say about 6 months ago. Gone in a second. Like not more than 5 minutes after I tacked it up on the wall.
Probably sold about 10 by now.
Oh my goodness. Well, the problem is the place where I get my tapestries from stopped making it. I was like, fuck you. And now I have to sit with Motionless in White on my wall. Because, you know, my wife thought it would be a great idea. It's just sitting there.
People in their 20s really like Motionless in White.
I don't hate them. I just don't think that they're doing anything that super special that would garner my attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate them. Like they're not like these fucking DJs that people just rave. I don't know if they're eating shrooms or whatever. Going to these shows, but that shit just bores the hell out of me.
You really have a disdain for DJs, period.
No, thank you.
That must be my word for the evening. Disdain.
So, you know, it would take us 2 hours to finish the rest of this list. So I don't know.
For sure.
Kind of zoom through, but we left off some other big fucking albums. And thank you, Mousebong, for pointing out a black metal album, because the place where I get my info from, they hardly ever list black metal. Like the only black metal they had on
most of the lists, to be honest.
The only one they had on was Marduk's Nightwing from March 28th, 1998. And that was the only black metal that was on that list. But we had Dark Angel, We Have Arrived, March 1st, 1985. Gene Hogland. And we had Soilwork in 2000.
Oh, yeah.
This album is really good. The Living Infinite came out on March 1st, 2013. It's a really good album, real catchy, sing along kind of anthemic. It's really good. Soilwork, if you haven't checked on it, technically they're kind of like metalcore, but really good metal. Real tasty. Excellent vocalist. He can yell, he can sing. Meshuggah's Obzin came
Yes.
7th, 2008. That's the one where
Speaking
you
of the princes of the gent.
and that's a really good, powerfully pummeling, polyrhythmic album. Thomas Hake, so damn good with that one.
He's not human.
Too.
Unfortunately, there's just not enough hours in the day to learn. I mean, I can do it for like 4 bars, and I'm like, crash.
Yeah, so for with Meshuggah, I don't like their vocalist. Their vocalist bores the hell out of me. He just drags out every word. It's so predictable. It like the vocals sound the same for most of their songs. So that's the
It really does.
But if you go and see Meshuggah, if you don't like their albums, fine. But I still say go see them live. It is an experience. One of my favorite shows all time live. Excellent. I saw him like 12 years ago, something like that.
Honestly, I think that vocalist just doesn't know quite how to do his singing over top of what's going on behind him. You know, if there was one singer that you think that would nail it, who would that be?
Oh, that I would have go with them? With them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a bunch that could go really well. I would
bet you Travis Ryan could do it.
Yep. Oh,
that would be fucking sick.
But that would really make him kind of step out into some new territory because it would have to be delivered in a very different way. I'd love to see him do it. He could totally do it. I would say I'd like to hear Randy Blythe do it.
That'd be cool.
Although he would have to leave off kind of the anthemic stuff because Randy Blythe is really good with anthemic. So he couldn't do that, but I like him quite a bit. There's so many that I know would do it better. But like the lead singer for Meshuggah, it sounds like he's constipated and straining.
Probably eats a lot of like Mexican like beforehand.
Yeah. We need to get a laxative. Maybe he would change it up a little bit. Another iconic death metal band, Immolation, had
yes.
in Decay, December 9th, 2010. I have that album. It's right over there. I had every that one is really, really damn good. Let's see, Paradise Lost. Then Anthrax, Among the Living. Not a bad album. Not totally solid all the way through, though.
I wasn't sold on that record at all.
No, to me it's quite flat, but it does have a couple of good songs on it. That was March.
It's very comedy for me, I guess is the word I would use.
Sepultura's Arise came out 5th, 1991. That's one I was in. Because I bought Beneath the Remains. I liked it, although I wasn't totally thrilled with it. And I couldn't wait for Arise. Metal Maniacs had played up Sepultura so much. And then once they had previewed that album cover art, I loved that. I wanted to get that thing tattooed on me.
See? Artwork is so important.
And then the last one I haven't mentioned, and there were so many that I've written down. I just didn't have the time to do it. A band that very few people probably know of. It's a thrash band out of Phoenix, Arizona from the early 90s. And their name is Atrophy. And they came out.
I know who they are.
They came out, Violent by Nature, March 26, 1990. I had that album on cassette. And then when I turned everything into get 25 cents for each cassette, so I could buy CDs.
Right. Because they were expensive as fuck back then.
Yeah, I never. But yeah, that's a great album. I would have shown that one for sure. It's a really good one. They put out 2 albums. They're both really good, but I like Violent by Nature even better. It's really good.
A little bit of an obscure band, and I know it's not everyone's taste, but it's a little bit more on the power metal side. Saxon also released an album in March. Like I said, some people, it's not their cup of tea, but I mean, I always dug it.
Yep, I'll listen to it over pop music any day. Most
Fuck yeah. Absolutely. Well, like we said, we could literally go on and on because March was definitely a big month in metal. And as you know, we're going to be doing this every month. So April will be the next time we do iconic records from each month. And then in May, I finally get to bring one out of the woodwork that maybe some folks don't know. I can't wait because I have it on vinyl. You're always showing great vinyl, and now I can show vinyl. So that makes me happy. But as always, Morgrat Universe, you guys, addicts, goddamn, thank you so much for tuning in on this Mommy Milkers Monday. I know Hoofbeast was so sad that we didn't get to show it last week, but I came up with a good one for Thirsty Thursday. But just to let you guys know again, if you go to Teespring under Reaper's Underground, you can get your official Addicts of the Damn t-shirt just to show some love by our brother from Defiler of the Art. Oh my goodness. Defiler of the Crown Art, Cody, who's always tuning in, which we love him so much. Get you one. It's not expensive. It's high quality. And it, shows us your love. We appreciate that. Because without y'all, there's no us. Absolutely. Thank you as well, Mouseball. So hopefully there's some albums that we discussed that maybe you haven't listened to. Maybe you haven't listened to it in a while. Give it a shot. Because honestly, roots come from all different decades in metal. And a lot of the ones that we've talked about tonight were pioneers of their time, 70s, 80s, 90s, and into the 2000s. So, oops, didn't realize that was still on. Let me go ahead. There we go. And if you do know some of these albums we discussed, fucking, pull it out for old time's sake and fucking rock out to it. And we know that it is a long time till Friday. But you do have Reaper's Underground to look forward to this Friday night, as I will be interviewing Grand Inquisitor, yet another, I want to say they're independent underground black metal that are going to be involved in the big Morgrat Just Another Fucking Metal Show event coming up in April. I believe it is. I definitely need to get the poster for that so I can show you guys. Because if you happen to be in Memphis, you're going to want to catch this stacked up fucking bill. Lots of black metal, thrash. I mean, it's definitely one for the ages. Mousebong says, I'm going to check out Prong later. You need to. Well, what was the big one? Break Your Neck. That was my favorite by Prong.
Fingers Break Your Neck, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, and if there's somebody you need to fucking give the finger to, fucking do it this week. If the boss man is being a dick, just let him know how you feel about him. So thank you all out there in the Morgrat universe for another fantastic show. Appreciate your support in every way. And we look forward to entertaining you some more, because I do believe this Saturday the goddamn program's coming back for another edition, and it's going to be a fun one. We have so much material to go through. I don't know where to start, but let me tell you, it's going to be a great party. So come party with us. It's Saturday night, Satanic Sunday, Saturday. Fuck! I am just like, it's been one of those days for me. Actually, 3 days. So as you're getting ready to lay it down, and you have to go in at some point tomorrow to make that money, tell that fat fucking son of a bitch to go fuck himself, and always stay heavy.